Hello. Had to watch and make sure I was unmuted. Dang it. And I was. So, there. That's for you, Flash fan. Oh my goodness. How are you guys? I feel like it's been forever. What a busy week and busy weekend. Um, Hopefully my mic is fixed from last week. I figured out that issue. Hello, Gabby. Yes. Oh, Kim. And hello, Laura. It's good to see you. Hope you are well. Glad to see you are alive, kinda. Sir Frank, hope you're all right and feeling okay. Your favorite juror has been very busy. It's been a very busy weekend and day, Monday. Hello, Holly. Good to see you. I think I got everyone that's here so far. I'm not muted, so haha. Oh, new job. Well, congratulations on your new job. Um, but yeah, tell them that you need to cut out some time to hang out with us. Thank you. That's how that goes. Hello, Annabelle. How are you? Hope you are well. Thank you for joining us. Flashman, I think you were at choir practice. I should not know your schedule better than you. Just saying. So, sorry, my lighting's kind of weird. I have a couple new ones ordered. Hopefully they'll be here tomorrow. Don't know if I'll have time to get them set up, but I got a different light when I got a different camera and I hate it. But I'm just kind of working it out here. So bear with me. Um, I think, and Gabby, sorry, I'm probably catching you off guard here because I haven't had time to talk to you. I do think that there is a great chance that Carmen is off on Wednesday and her and Gabby will be taking over my stream because I will be at dinner with my dad and my brother. And my son said he might join them. So he had surgery today. He's home. He's doing well. He can't really do anything for like the next month. So he said, maybe I'll come on stream with you. I said, you are more than welcome. He said he probably wouldn't speak and probably not at first, but you'll get over it. You get over your shyness. So he may join us at some point in time. There's a great possibility of that happening. Yes. I am not responsible for what happens when Gabby and Carmen stream and I'm not here. You know, it's kind of like when mom's away type of situation. I'm just going to put a disclaimer up that I am not responsible for the content or anything that is said. Actually, it'll be really fun. They're always fun and they always do a great job. You're definitely not responsible, Gabby. Yeah. Okay, we'll just make Carmen responsible. Let's see. I don't really have any updates on anything. I've not watched anything news-wise. I saw a little blurb that did the Menendez brothers, did they get resentenced already? I saw a little blurb thing, but I did not. I had have time to check it out today. I had my granddaughter early this morning until this afternoon, and then I had her all weekend. So it's been busy, but so I don't know. Um, but we are going back to the Betty Broderick trial, back to the big hair. It's kind of dying down at this point in time because it's in 1991. This is her retrial. First trial ended with when the jury could not come to a decision on her what level of guilt she was going to have. 50 years to life, go before the parole board in June. Huh. Wow. I don't even know how long they've been in prison, so they probably could get out. Mine's not mobile quite yet, so yours looks mobile, Laura, so hats off to you. I will, I can imagine. Be like dragging myself around. They are eligible for parole. Huh. I don't, I have no opinion on it, honestly. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. I don't know enough about the new stuff, and so I have zero opinion. Okay, so we are going back to Betty Broderick. If you don't know, this was the second trial to air on court TV. The first trial was Pamela Smart, also not smart. Pam Smart was the one who, I think she paid two students. She was a teacher to off her husband, and they did. Yeah. But then now we have Betty Broderick, who did off her husband and his new wife, Linda, who they'd been married for 6 months. And this is Kim, her daughter, her and Dan's daughter. Dan was her husband. And she is back on the stand. We saw the first part of her testimony, and then they had to take an attorney out of order. I think he had some, scheduling conflict. His testimony wasn't great for old Betty over there. He didn't get paid. He thought he had a settlement agreement for her. She refused to sign it. There was a lot going on, and there wasn't really anything that he said that was helpful to Betty. Now, he was a state witness, but he was Betty's divorce attorney at one point in time. So we heard from him, and now Kim is back on. This is part 2, and there will be a part 3. So she was on the stand for quite a while. I love the judge's look, her smiling, because I know it doesn't. I'm sure her smile doesn't last. She, I believe, is on cross-examination. So far, the defense attorney hasn't really asked anybody a good question. I think he had probably the best questions with the divorce attorney, but even those were he just didn't have anything to work with. He really doesn't. That's all my opinion. You guys are all entitled to your own, and you don't have to agree with me. So I don't know. That's all I got. So we will start with her. If you have not watched any of this trial, this is the trial of the squeakiest chairs in the world. I can't. If you haven't watched any of this, I apologize in advance for their squeaky chairs. I hope they all got pushed off a cliff when this trial was over. And so if I could edit them out, I would, but I do not have that magic. The best question was, what was for dinner? I had sliders and macaroni and cheese. My husband made sliders on the grill, and they were delicious. Oh, yes, and mannequins. How in the world could I forget the mannequins? There's two mannequins over against the bookshelf because there's 1,000 books in this courtroom back when they needed all the books. They were used for demonstration on Dan and Linda's injuries, and they get moved around for some reason. Like every time we start a different part of this, they're in a different position. It's like, who is moving the mannequins? They are making some gestures towards each other. It's really weird. So, yes, we stay entertained with those. They have not been used in the trial since like the very beginning witnesses, so I don't know, but it's funny. I have everything boosted. Everything is turned up. Closed captionings, we actually are lucky and get those tonight. So yay us, because I don't know why sometimes they're here, sometimes they're not, but that's the way it goes. And so please let me know how the sound is, and let's do it, shall we?
How are you?
Fine, thanks.
You're still under oath from last week, okay?
Okay.
All right. Mr. Early, you may proceed.
Ms. Broderick, on the day that you in October of was it October of 1989 that your mother brought you home and you couldn't find your keys?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you do when you got to your house?
I waited for my roommate to get home. And then I think I waited for about a half hour, and then I think I walked over to my dad's house.
So your mother just left you there?
Yes.
Okay, and your roommate didn't come home at all, is that correct? In that time you waited?
Right.
And did you ever tell your father about the keys?
I don't think I did.
Now, you've indicated that there was 2 phones that went into the house, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And one phone was your father's private phone?
Yes.
He had a machine on that, did you know?
No.
You never had a machine on that phone?
No.
Okay. And there was a phone that was for the children, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you said your father turned that phone off a lot when he was home because he didn't like getting calls, isn't that right?
I believe he turned it off when we weren't home on the weekends. I think he turned it off in times like that, but usually the machine was still on.
Yeah. So he turned it off because that's not where he would get his calls, and he wouldn't want to be bothered with your calls.
No, he'd get calls there too, but he didn't want to be bothered by any calls.
Okay,
and any really important calls, then they would come through to his own line.
So he would leave his own phone on, is that correct?
Right.
And there were friends that he had that he only gave his private line to?
I believe there's a couple of friends that had that line. I don't know that a lot of friends did. It didn't ring that much, so I don't really know who had it.
Now when you went to, did the school in Arizona, did it get out in May? Is that
Yes.
what went out?
It gets out in the first week in May, around May 3rd to 5th.
And so your finals are over then?
Right.
And had you taken all your finals?
Objection irrelevant.
Sustained.
At some point in time, you indicated that you went back to Arizona in 1989, is that correct?
Yes, that was for the finals in December.
And you had some physical problems that led to that?
Yes.
Now, during the time that when you went back to Arizona, you had some problems with getting an apartment, did you not?
Objection irrelevant.
Sustained.
Well, you talked to your mother about problems with an apartment, didn't you?
The last time I went back in October?
Yes.
Yes.
And you told her that your father was not going to pay money for an apartment, is that correct?
No.
You told her that she would not, that there was a problem with how much he would pay for an apartment?
There was a problem with a couple things about the apartment, about me having a roommate. He wanted me to have a roommate. And about the price of apartments. That was problem 2. But it wasn't a problem initially when I first went to Arizona. It was a problem once I found this one single apartment. It's just a problem about one apartment. It wasn't in general about all apartments.
Well, you called your mother acting like you were upset, didn't you?
Objection Vegas time.
Sustained.
Did you call your mother that fall, acting that you were upset about the apartment?
No.
Did you call, what did you pretend at any point in time that you were crying about the apartment? Try to pretend you were crying?
I left a message on my mom's machine joking around that I was crying, but I said nothing about an apartment on that machine. I don't.
Your mother made a big deal of that, didn't she?
Well, we only talked about it that one time, and then now she's been no. But we only talked about it that one time. There wasn't any more talks about it because then Dad died.
Your mother never had your mother never made a big deal out of you not getting an apartment?
That day she did. On I think it was Monday or Tuesday. That was the only time we talked about it though.
And during the time that you talked to your mother about the apartment, didn't you talk to her about a trip your father was taking to Greece?
No.
Did you tell her that you were upset at your father because he was paying all his employees way to Greece, but he wasn't willing to give you extra money for the apartment you wanted?
No, I did not. Mom said that.
Mom said that.
Yes, I did not mention grease at all.
Did she tell you how she found out about that he was paying the employees' way to grease?
No, I don't think she, I don't know how she found out.
Did you know that?
That he was paying, yes, and yes, I did know that he took the whole firm to grease.
And now, at the time that you went to Notre Dame, to a football game, there was a time where you were not able to sit at the table you wanted to sit at, is that correct?
Objection irrelevant.
Sustained.
You talked to your mother about not being able to sit at the table, is that correct?
Objection irrelevant.
Sustained.
I'd like to be heard, Your Honor.
That's just sitting at a table at Notre Dame.
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to be heard.
All right, come on up.
Did you guys see the closed captioning said, he's like, I'd like to be heard, Your Honor. And the judge's like, about sitting at a table at Notre Dame. He's like, yes, Your Honor. And the closed captioning said, I'd like to be heard. And I thought, well, the judge will probably agree with you on that. So walk on up there, dude. Oh, this guy gives me a headache. Not really. He just, wow. Okie doke. Anyway.
Go ahead.
Ms. Broderick, you testified about an incident that took place when your father and David Monahan took you to a pizza parlor. You remember that?
Yes,
And you recall that it was about the time that Rhett Broderick was born that took place?
no, maybe Danny.
Okay.
I don't think it could have been Rhett.
Okay. Rhett was born in 1979 and Danny in 1977.
I don't recall. It could have been either one of them, I suppose.
And so you would have either been 7 or 9 years old then?
Right.
And during the time you indicated that you don't recall, or do you recall your mother yelling at your father when he came home?
Yes, I do.
And do you remember what the weather was out that day?
It was at night.
Do you remember what the weather was like that night?
No, I don't.
You remember your mother yelling at your father about the conditions of the road and rains?
No, I don't.
Uh,
All I really remember is her throwing a stereo and the marble thing. I don't remember what she yelled. I remember that she was angry, yelling, and that she did that.
You knew that your father had been convicted of a drunk driving in 1978, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Do you remember testifying at the last trial that you were aware of 2 of your father's drunk driving convictions?
My mom told me that, but I didn't know at the time, and I didn't know what. I still don't know what years. Right? I really don't know anything about them.
I object, Your Honor, as facts not known, it's destroyed.
Sustained, answer stricken.
But you remember at the last trial indicating you did know about it.
Objection, Your Honor, that misstates the evidence.
Sustained. It's getting rather warm here. If the lawyers want to take their jackets off, it's all right with me.
I'll come back to that in a moment, Your Honor.
Okay.
You indicated that during the time that when you were in 1985, when you were living with your mother, she had a Suburban, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated later on she got other cars, an old Jaguar
Yes,
and a Chevrolet.
Right.
And the Chevrolet was mainly driven by you and Lee, was it not?
Lee, I didn't drive that much.
Your mother did buy you a car, didn't she?
Yes,
And the reason that she bought you a car was because your father, the only car you had to drive was an MG, isn't that right?
well, she really didn't buy me a car. She just put a down payment on it, and then she wouldn't pay for it anymore.
Well, there was an old, an MG is what you were driving, is that correct?
Objection, Your Honor. No, no.
Sustained.
Well, when you've gone through all these incidents about your mother being upset at your father, were they just in a vacuum? Would all of a sudden your mother just start swearing about your father, or were things happening that would make her upset?
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered. He's asked that question several times.
Sustained.
Okay. One of the instances that your mother was screaming about when you went through this litany was about the fact that the only car you had to drive was an MG, wasn't it?
Well, I didn't get my license till I was 18, and that's when I got the car. So I don't believe that that was an issue. No. That's when I got the car that my mom got me.
What year were you in that? What year did you become 18?
1988.
And in 1988, your mother was not upset at your father or not saying things about your father?
Yes, she was.
And you testified to,
I don't think that had anything to do with me driving an MG, though. She was mad at Dad for a million other things.
she never yelled at the fact that, that you had a car that was breaking down and your father would not believe you?
Yes, she did. That was after she bought me the Volkswagen. That wasn't before.
But the MG broke down, is that correct?
Yes, it did.
And you would tell her that your father wouldn't believe you that it broke down, didn't you?
Well, then he would drive it and it wouldn't break down when he drove it. So then he said that we were imagining it.
And that was upsetting to you, wasn't it?
Yes.
And you relayed that to your mother?
Probably.
You indicated that there was a letter that your mother copied and sent out to family members. Remember that? This people 44?
Yes, I do.
Okay, do you remember this letter?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the one letter that appears to be very clear, that's in your mother's handwriting?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and the other letter, whose handwriting is that?
Linda.
Okay. So Linda was writing a letter for Dan, is that correct? For Dan to, she was the ghostwriter.
Well, he wasn't really supposed to send it. She just was upset that Dad hadn't told his parents yet. So then she wrote a letter telling them, but he wasn't supposed to rewrite that and send that. It was just kind of a hint, like, you better tell them.
And
then Mom found it. She didn't know anything about
so
what it really was for.
this letter wasn't, when it was written, was not to go out at all.
No, because it's Linda writing to Mom and Dad, but not to her mom and dad, my dad's mom and dad. So, no.
She wasn't writing the letter telling your father, just send this letter off?
No.
It was her hint of saying, you should write a letter like this?
Right.
And did you know who, there's a reference to Al Kinsler in here. Do you know who that was?
I think that's my Aunt Nancy's husband.
And do you know why that would have, what that meant?
Objection calls for second.
I have to see it.
Oh, overall, she knows.
Oh, you have to see it.
Oh, okay. What was the question?
Do you know what that reference to Mr. Kinsler is about?
Your Honor, I object to this witness speculating as to what someone else is referencing letters to.
Overrule, just answer that yes or no. Do you know what it's about, yes or no?
If you read it, it kind of says what it's about, but otherwise,
But
no.
other than that, you don't know?
No.
So your answer's no?
Right.
The, you indicated in testimony that, that your father never did things to people in anger, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And that he had a very good relationship with Linda, is that right?
Yes, that is.
Were you aware of an occasion where he dumped a pitcher of beer on
Objection, Your
her?
Honor. So, facts on that.
Sustained.
Well, had you heard, would it make a difference if you had
Objection,
heard?
Your Honor, this is not a character witness.
Sustained.
Well, you didn't know what Dan was doing for Linda away from the house, did you?
Objection, obviously, the answer is obvious.
Well, if you want to give the obvious answer, then go ahead.
I wasn't there. I mean, if they told me about it, I knew.
And did they tell you about things that were happening away from the house?
Yeah, like things that they go do and things like that.
Did Linda ever tell you about a time that she had?
Objection, Your Honor. It states facts not in evidence and it's irrelevant.
Sustained.
May I be heard, Your Honor? I'd like to make at least an offer of proof.
That's what Linda told her.
Yes, and about the area of her opinion.
She's not a character witness for or against Linda.
That she was for her father.
Objection, Your Honor. No, she wasn't.
I'd at least like to make a record, Your Honor.
All right, come on up.
Okay, sorry. The last time we wanted to approach the bench, the closed captioning said, "Do you want to be hurt?" Or "I want to be hurt." This time it said, "I would like to offer some food." It's going to be probably the most entertaining thing all night because this guy's questions are horrible. And Bri, congratulations on your non-leaky toilet and sink. Good job. Wait, I have some work around my house if you just are bored.
Sorry, Mr. Erling. The other jury has reached a verdict, and we have to get the other lawyers, but go ahead.
Thank you. You indicated that when in 1989 on November 5th, when you got a call from Lee, you called a friend in San Diego.
First I called a friend in Arizona. And then I called friends in San Diego later.
Who did you call in San Diego?
PJ Hathaway.
And who did you call in Arizona?
I called my Jim and Matt.
Now, in the first call that you received, were you upset?
Yes, I was.
Were you crying?
I don't think I was crying when I was on the phone.
And what do you mean by upset?
I started shaking and things, but I just pretty much wanted to get off the phone. I was just kind of getting really nervous. I don't think I was crying yet.
Now, at some point in time, when you talked to the district attorney, you related that your mother was upset in that first call. When you first talked to the district attorney, didn't you?
I don't remember.
Have you read your testimony, or have you read your interview with the district attorney?
Yes, I've read all of them.
And have you read your preliminary hearing testimony?
Yes.
And do you remember being asked, you remember reading that you said at that time that your mother was upset?
No, I don't remember reading it. I read it a while ago, but I could have said that. She was upset in one of the phone calls. I'm not sure which phone call it was. One of the phone calls she was calm, and then one of the phone calls she was upset. She was getting upset, saying her voice was quivering. But I don't think she was crying in any of the phone. No, definitely she wasn't crying in any of the phone calls.
Do you You don't remember your mother crying at any time?
Objection big as to at any time or in
Sustained.
this conversation.
In either one of those two phone calls, you don't remember your mother crying at any time?
No, her voice was shaking when she was saying, just get home, just get home.
And,
She didn't sound like she was crying, but I couldn't hear her. I mean, I couldn't see her. So, but no, she didn't sound like she was crying at all.
well, was your mother scared in any of the phone calls?
When her voice was quivering, she was nervous. I don't know if she was scared necessarily or upset or about to cry, but her voice was shaking.
Well, do you remember you characterizing as she sounded scared to you?
I don't remember. She could have sounded scared. I don't know the emotion that you would say that when someone's voice is quivering, like anxious, nervous, scared. She was really upset.
Well, after November 5th, you've had at least 2 taped conversations with the district attorney, didn't you? Lengthy ones.
I had one right after, I think, and then I had one a month after.
And you had some conversations with the district attorney about your testimony before the preliminary hearing, is that correct?
I don't remember. Was that the long one that was taped? Or was there?
The preliminary hearing, the first hearing that you testified. Did you have an opportunity to talk to the district attorney?
No, I don't remember. Do you know what month that was in?
Would have been around March of 1990.
I probably spoke with her. I don't think it was a long conversation, but I really don't remember exactly.
And did you have a chance to have a number of conversations before you testified in the last trial?
Brief conversations. I don't think we ever talked at length again after the 2 long conversations. Then she just kind of gave me an idea of what I was going to be asked.
Did you have time to be with anyone from the DA's office, including the district attorney's investigator, before the last trial?
No.
How about before this trial?
I've talked to Carrie Wells briefly before this trial, but we haven't had long conversations this time either.
Well,
I read my transcript. That's pretty much all the preparation I've had.
yeah, and how long were you at did you go to the district attorney's office last Wednesday?
Yes.
And you remember about how long you were there?
I was there listening to tapes before court was done. And then with Carrie Wells about 45 minutes to an hour.
So you were there about 5 hours total?
No.
Listening to tapes and talking?
No.
Did you have a ride on Wednesday?
Ride home?
Yes.
Bill Green said he would take me home, but I didn't need him to because I didn't go home right afterward.
Was somebody waiting to give you a ride?
No.
So on Wednesday, before you testified, nobody gave you a ride home? You can recall.
Well, I went to the airport and picked up my aunts, and then PJ gave me a ride home at around 9:30. So I didn't have my car.
How did you go pick up your aunt?
Objection irrelevant.
Sustained.
I'd like you to look at page 183 of your testimony at the last trial. Being questioned by the district attorney. You could read yourself, lines 24 through 28.
This is from last trial?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have an opportunity to read that?
Yeah.
You recall testifying that your mother was upset, scared, and crying on the telephone?
Well, I guess when I said it, I don't remember that saying that. I mean, it says that I said it. I'm sure I said that, but I don't remember saying it. The way I remember it now is that her voice was just shaking. I guess that could have. Do you know when someone's getting upset and their voice starts shaking like that? Like when they're about to start crying, maybe.
Well, this was your words, was it not?
Right, it was.
Okay, you indicated her voice was shaking, she was crying, and she was scared.
Right.
Okay. Now, at that time, were the events fresher in your mind than they are today?
Yes.
Okay. So you would rely on what you remembered then as being accurate, not now.
Yes, that sounds logical, but I still remember that she wasn't crying. So maybe I was wrong.
Maybe you were wrong then.
Mm-hmm.
Did she talk to you about trying to kill herself?
Yes, she did. She said that she was planning on shooting herself, but there weren't enough bullets left.
And she also indicated that Mr. Broderick said, okay, you shot me, I'm dead.
Yes.
Did she say when he had said that?
No.
Okay. She indicated that he sat up in bed and said that, didn't she?
No, she did not.
Now, when she talked to you, you indicated that sometime later, when she talked to you, when you went to her attorney's office, she talked to you about your treatment at school from your father, and that took you by surprise?
She talked about the apartment.
And that took you by surprise?
Well, yes, we did.
Not really discussed that at all, upset about that, is that right?
We had discussed it that day. But since then, no. I mean, she was implying that that had something to do with why she killed him. That took me very much by surprise. I think that was I thought that was kind of a stupid issue.
Well, you don't remember ever having a heated conversation before November 5th about school?
All I told her was that I wanted this apartment. Dad had said no, try and keep looking. Well, he didn't even say no. He said just keep looking, try and find a roommate. That sounds like it's a little expensive to me. I called Mom. Mom called me back, and she said, don't worry about it. I'll pay for the apartment. She wasn't upset about it. It wasn't that heated of a conversation. So when she mentioned that as one of the things that had to do with why my dad was dead, that surprised me. She didn't seem that upset about it on Tuesday.
And you're talking about Tuesday before that Sunday.
Right.
The key ring that the keys are on, the one that went to Dan's house. Do you know what the other two keys were for on this key ring?
My apartment.
Okay, so they're both the same key that goes to your apartment?
No, I don't think they're the same key. I think one's a mailbox key, maybe. Or they may be the same key. I don't really remember. But there's something to do with my apartment.
They both, to your memory, had to do with your apartment? How many doors to your apartment?
One door, and then one might. Oh no, there was the gate. Yeah, they're both to my apartment. There was the front gate and then the door. So they're both to my apartment.
And you were not able to get into the front gate?
No, but if you went through the side gate, you can get into our backyard. And you can always just wait for people to come and get to the gate. I think that's what I did.
Now, you did not have a car at that time, did you?
No.
So you didn't have a car key?
No.
Okay. Is that something that, did you have a habit or did it happen in the past that you would lose misplaced keys?
No.
That's never happened?
No, I don't think I've ever lost my keys ever.
The, and you indicated that you thought that your mother in October of '89 seemed to be happier, is that right?
Yeah, she was really calm and we got along great. We didn't usually get along that long. She wasn't necessarily that happy, but we got along we were getting along well.
Now, you've testified that at the time that in the summer that she went over to your apartment, it was, she said that she was mad because of graduation, is that correct?
She said that later, yes.
Have you ever testified before that you didn't know why she was mad that day? She's never told you why she was mad?
She didn't tell me that day. It wasn't until later that she had said that she was mad. I think it might have been since she'd been in jail that she said that,
So
that she was mad about graduation.
the conversation that you related to the jury when you said, my mother called me and said, I'm mad and I'm upset, and told you it was about the graduation, that was not a conversation you're having at a time you were filling in? With things you were
I
mad?
don't think I said
Objection,
that.
that misstates what the witness said.
Sustained.
At the time, you had no idea why she was mad, is that correct?
Right.
And since then, you're saying that she's told you that the reason was because of the graduation?
Either she has told me that since, or I've heard that since. She did not tell me that day. I've heard that since, that was why she was mad at me that day.
And you don't remember whether it was her or somebody else?
I think it was her, but I can't remember the exact conversation where she told me that.
What makes you think it's her then?
Objection argumentative. I think she's trying to answer the
Sustained.
question.
At the time that you had the tape of Danny that you listened to with your mother, do you remember the long tape? Do you remember approximately when that was?
Well, I know now it was when Danny was 11, but I don't remember the day or the month or anything like that, or the exact circumstances. I mean, I can get things from the tape, like that I was over at Mom's house beforehand, but I don't know when.
And 11 would have been when? 1987?
Yeah.
And you knew that he was seeing Ruth Roth, is that correct?
I don't know if it was during that time. I know he saw her sometime.
Well, during the tape, there was
Oh, yeah. During the tape, Mom said that she was seeing him. So, yes.
And you recall that being in about 1987?
I don't remember when he saw Ruth Roth, but that's when the tape is when he saw her. And it fits together, I think.
Assuming that the tape was in, that they were seeing Ruth Roth in 1987, there had been a long battle over the telephone before that, had there not?
Yes.
And during that battle with the telephone, the machine had been sometimes turned on and off, had it not?
It was mostly on all the time, but then Dad took it away for a while.
And during that period of time, sometimes your father would put the telephone in the closet,
Yes.
and other times he would turn the ringers down on the phone.
Yes.
And there were times that there were complaints about, at least going on in the home, about the fact that your mother would call and the kids wouldn't know she called.
Objection, Your Honor, vague as to who's making complaints.
Sustained, just rephrase.
Were there complaints in the household about your mother making calls and the children not knowing about it?
Objection again, vague as to who's making the complaints, whose household. A vague question.
Sustained. Just rephrase it. You can go into that area, just
All right,
rephrase
I
it.
just need a break from him for just a second. So when we watched her first day of testimony, I don't know, it's been a couple weeks ago now, I think. There was a lot of you in the chat at that time who didn't like Kim up here on the stand, who didn't like her, who thought she was not being honest about things. I think you guys said she was rolling her eyes a lot. I'm curious what you think today, because it seems to me she's answering his questions a lot more direct if she can figure out what it is he's trying to ask and get to, because he's like, I mean, taking the road less traveled to get somewhere. I don't know where. But I am curious what you guys think about it today. I don't know that he's doing any better. But I thought she was doing better. But that's my well, maybe she does have a toothache. I don't know. Hey, Tracy, how are you? Hope you're getting better and better and better. I'm glad to see you. Always glad to see you, but especially glad to see you because it's been a little bit, and at least I know you're still here, and that's the important thing. At first, you thought she was a sociopath, but this is at least the third time she's been through this. It's when he's asking her about certain things. I mean, if you just sit and think about things that have happened in your life, you might remember exactly. Okay, it's like, oh, that was out of the ordinary. What that happened. I don't think it was out of the ordinary for her mom to be calling and leaving, you know, very inappropriate, bad words, as her little brother said, messages. Messages on the answer machine, to where the dad did have to take the answer machine off of there, or turn it off. But if you had to think back and be like, okay, so somebody left me a weird message, and you had to go to court about it years later, you would know you had the weird message, but you would be going, I don't know what day and time. I mean, our phones tell us now, but we would all just be like, I don't know what's happening. Like, I don't know. I just know it happened. Hello, little one. How are you? I don't think so, Flash Fan. That'd be a lot. Yes, she said bad words, and she spent time in jail for those bad words, I believe, and she was fined for those bad words. They were pretty bad the other day, little one. We had tornadoes all around us. Fortunately, not here at my house. So, this is Kim Broderick, Dan and Betty's daughter. We've watched the first part of her testimony. This is part 2, and then we'll have one more part tomorrow. I think we should get through both parts. But anyway, I just needed a break because I do not know where this attorney is going with anything. Like his life, I don't know. But I don't know how much she was fined. Robin, when she stopped in here the other night to say hello, she's reading the 12th of Never, and I need to check that book out because she said it was very, like, one of the most accurate books about this whole entire situation. So I don't know if that would have that in there or not, but I'd be curious to find out. I don't know. I mean, 10 million people in here and 5 likes, that seems a little lopsided. Yes, the mannequins are, they're closer today so far. Okay, back to Ben Stein. Ben Stein's twin, who was an attorney, apparently. Allegedly.
In the Broderick home, in Daniel Broderick's home, was there complaints about people not getting your mother's messages?
Well, Mom would tell us that she called, and then we would say we didn't get the messages, so then she would complain about it.
The boys were never.
Well, they didn't know that they got the messages until Mom would say something, and then they'd say, "Oh, we didn't get that one."
Yeah.
But that wasn't always Dad's fault. Lee and I answered the machine more than almost every day. Dad did it maybe on the weekends.
There were times when the boys would be home and they wouldn't know that your mother was calling. Isn't that right?
Objection unless she knows her personal knowledge.
Do you have any personal knowledge of that?
When I was home, I know about that.
Good.
Well, Dad wasn't home during the day, so that would have had. Wait, can you ask me the question again?
Were there times when the boys would be home and the phone, your mother would be calling, and the answer machine would intercept the call so that your brothers wouldn't know that your mother was calling.
During dinner, the machine was on and they were not advanced the phone. Sometimes after dinner, the ringers would be turned off. But and they would basically know if she was calling. We would tell them, unless of course then I was at home. I don't really know what you mean.
Was there a lot of times when you weren't home?
Not on school nights. No, not usually. I was home on school nights.
The time of the call with Danny, you indicated that was surprising because of Danny's, the amount of Danny's, at least anger of what he was saying. Is that correct?
Yes.
It's out of character for Danny to do that?
Yes.
Do you know whether he had any conversations with his psychologist about expressing his anger?
No.
You also indicated that it was unusual that because your mother took the fact that she stayed on the line and listened to it.
Right.
Okay. And you also indicated that Danny would never talk that way to your father.
Well, he didn't talk that way to anybody.
Okay. Now, your father, when the phone call first started, how long would you say that they were talking before the machine was turned on?
I don't know.
Do you remember giving an estimate of about 10 minutes?
From when I got there, it could have gone on before that, but I just got home. So basically,
So Danny was already on the phone when you got home.
no, I don't know that. By the time I came upstairs, he was on the phone.
So the first thing that you noticed about Danny is on the phone talking to your mother.
Right.
Okay. And your father was upstairs, you indicated changing light bulbs.
He was doing work in his room. He was changing a light. I remember him fidgeting with the light fixtures. He might have been putting up new light fixtures actually.
And your father continued to do that the whole time that Danny was on the phone, is that correct?
He was in his room and doing something. I don't know if he did that the whole time.
Now, Danny was, for the whole time that Danny was on the phone talking that way to your mother, your father, you indicated, was in the next room within hearing distance. I mean, you could hear Danny from where your father was.
Yeah.
And so for the 40 minutes that Danny was on the phone, obviously very upset, your father allowed that to go on, is that correct?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And it was your indication that the reason he allowed that to go on is so that he could gather evidence of the kind of phone calls.
No, that wasn't my indication.
Well,
My indication was that Dad wasn't supposed to interfere with their contact with Mom, and that maybe also if Ruth Robb told him to express anger, maybe he was letting him express anger.
well, he never tried to take the phone away from him or calm him down in those 45 minutes. He just let the tape run and sat in the next room and listened. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And that tape, you knew, was later on used in divorce proceedings, was it not?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Now, also the tapes that we heard of your mother's conversations when she had on the phone, those aren't the original tapes, are they?
Well, there was a tape that would be in the tape player, and then Dad would take it out and tape it onto another tape so we could have the tape back in the machine, because on the machine it wouldn't work.
Well, any 60-minute or 45-minute or 90-minute tape would work in that machine, is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay. So your father, well, on those machines, on those messages from your mother, sometimes there would be a number of calls from your mother before there was a message such as that where she was trying to get through to somebody, wasn't there?
All the time? Sometimes?
Sometimes. Okay. And so your mother would try to get a hold, would be saying, I know somebody's there, what's going on, and then would hang up, call back, hang up. And then finally there would be a bad message left on the phone.
Yes.
Okay. Now, your father didn't keep all the other messages, did he? You didn't hear any tapes that had all the others, did you?
No.
You would just hear the edited tapes that would just show the final message. or the message that he wanted the court to hear.
Yeah.
The, were you, aware of calls that were going from the children, the two boys, to your mother, where they would cry to your mother about needing them?
Excuse me? Crying to my mother about needing her?
Yes.
Or, I don't really understand what you mean. Needing her to come over or needing her in general?
Were you aware of calls that the boys would make to their mother crying about either an accident they'd been in or problems they were having, and your mother not being able to get back to them because the answer machine would be on?
Objection, Your Honor, that seems to us not evidence.
Well, overruled if you know the answer. Do you know? Just yes or no?
I still don't really understand the question.
All right, then sustained.
Well, you were aware of the time that the boys got in an accident, weren't you, in the neighborhood?
I'm aware of that from last trial. I may have heard, I don't know that from personal knowledge. No, I wasn't there.
And had you, so you had never heard that one of the boys had been hit by a car when there was no supervision?
Objection, I think she just answered the question.
Sustained.
Well, when you, when you wanted to go to when the children wanted to go to your mother's house, they would have to, there would have to be an arrangement made between the children and your mother, is that correct?
On how she was gonna get them, pick them up and stuff?
Yes. I understand you believe that there was a visitation schedule, is that right? Between your mother and your father, set up by the court prior to 1989.
I don't know if it was set up by the court. I believe that that the two of them were trying to figure out some visitation schedule. I do not know if it ever came into effect. I just know that there was letters going back and forth. Dad sent, I'm getting myself confused. I know that they were trying to set up a visitation schedule. I know it wasn't just random visitation. And I know that there was visitation.
Well, you remember testifying at the last trial that the way visitation was set up is there'd be conversations during the week between your mother and the boys, and that it would be normally on Thursday when your father would make the decision of whether they could go over.
No, I don't remember saying that, but I know that that Danny and Rhett would call Mom and say that they wanted to go over that weekend, and then I know that Mom and Danny and Rhett worked that out, but Dad didn't just wait till Thursday every week and then say, okay, or no, you can't go. I mean, there was more to it than that.
Okay, and what made you think there was more to it than that?
Well, and sometimes they'd know in the beginning of the week, and then Mom would change her mind. And then Dad would say, okay, no, you can't go. And then Mom would say, oh, no, come. And then Dad would say, no, forget it. You can't go now. She had already changed her mind. We've made plans. I mean, a lot happened before Thursday, almost every week. It wasn't just that everything was calm, and then all of a sudden Dad just made his ruling.
Well, you believe that both of them were playing games with visitation, didn't you?
I believe that there was no one weekend you have them, the next weekend you have them, but both of them were changing their minds. And it was basically a mess.
And really not much longer going to be. My other jury's got a verdict. The lawyers are here.
Well, it would appear appropriate, Your Honor, that I'm going to be some time.
So you're not going to finish today anyway?
No.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our afternoon recess at this time. I've kept the other jury waiting about a half hour now, and both the lawyers are here on that matter, so I want to handle that so they can go home also. Please remember the admonition not to discuss the case among yourselves, nor let anyone else discuss it with you, and not form any opinions on it until it's finally submitted to you. And be extra careful about not watching television, listen to the radio, and keep in mind what the one gentleman told my clerk, he can't talk about it. Have a nice evening. Morning, how are you?
Don't worry.
Good. You're still under oath, okay?
Mm-hmm.
See, Mr. Early?
Thank you. Ms. Broderick, have you talked to other people about this case, about your testimony?
Friends and things like that.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you talked to any other attorneys?
Not professionally, just that are friends of mine.
Well, you talked to Mr. Chapin about it, haven't you?
Yes.
Okay, and he's gone through your testimony with you, hasn't he? At some point?
No, he hasn't read my testimony or anything.
But he's talked to you about your testimony.
He just told me to be honest and be myself. We didn't really go into it much after that.
He didn't talk at all about your testimony?
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
Okay. Now at times, you indicated that the problem with Arizona was your father, or at least your testimony now is your father did not want to pay as much rent as the place you found because you were living by yourself. Is that correct?
Excuse me, want to pay as much rent?
As you wanted, because one of the reasons is you found an apartment that you'd have to pay for all by yourself in Arizona.
No, basically he wanted me to live with somebody. He didn't like the idea of me living alone.
So money was never an issue?
He just said keep looking. He was not happy with that apartment because it was a loan. The price of my first apartment was $250 and this one was $450. So we thought that there would be that I could get one cheaper. But if I couldn't find one that I liked cheaper, he didn't say absolutely not.
Okay. Do you remember testifying about that area at the preliminary hearing?
Not in particular, but
Did you remember, did your father ever tell you that he wouldn't pay at all for an apartment because you weren't going to school?
yes, we weren't discussing an apartment for then. We were looking for an apartment for the next semester.
Well,
If I wasn't in school, my dad didn't pay for anything. If I was going to school, if it was a summer vacation, when I was planning to go back to school, then dad would give me allowance and pay for the apartment and things. But if I wasn't going to school, which I wasn't that semester, then no.
do you remember talking at the preliminary hearing, we were talking about the apartment in Arizona, and you answered that with a question about you wouldn't pay for the apartment because you had units to make up and you weren't actually enrolled in school. And you indicated my dad wouldn't pay for any apartment until I started back in school again. Remember that testimony?
Yes, that's what the apartment was for. I was there in October looking for an apartment for January when I started school.
Well, you indicated.
I was just going to stay with a friend from when I was there to make up the finals. I didn't need an apartment just to make up the finals.
So you found an apartment in October.
Your Honor, excuse me, I'm going to object to the relevance of the living condition.
Sustained.
I was wondering when she was going to object. Thank you.
You called your mother, you told your mother that your father kicked you out and said he wouldn't pay for an apartment, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Do you remember telling your mother that you weren't upset about Greece, but that she was, but he wouldn't give you any money when you were going to school?
I wasn't upset about Grace, Mom was. And when I was going to school, Dad would give me money. So I don't know. I don't understand what you're asking me.
Referring to page 182 of the preliminary hearing transcript, you could read lines 3 through 8.
All right, maybe I'm just missing it. What does any of this stuff have to do with her mother unaliving her father? Pretty sure she didn't unalive him because he didn't pay for the apartment. I don't, maybe he's just laying a foundation of things I can't see. It's just possible. Very, very possible. The judge was staring at that decanter like, please be something more than water. I think the judge would have been okay laying on a bed of ice. It's got that I'm disguised as vodka. Or I mean, I'm vodka disguised as water in this frosty decanter. I think he's wishing it. He's like, man, I just wish I could just stare at you long enough. Yes, I'm just not seeing. I don't know what any of his questions have had to do with what her mom did. Like, she didn't. I mean, maybe manipulating, but I mean, was she? Also, can you imagine if apartments still cost $450 and that was like a high end one? You can't even get a low end one for that much money anymore. Oh, all right. Well, back to this riveting getting paid by the hour. Well, Betty doesn't have any money. And if he didn't learn that her last lawyer that was on the stand didn't get paid, you know. Oh, both parents were manipulating. There's no doubt, little one. Like they both had their demons. I just don't understand where he's going with this. He ain't got game. No, you cannot even get a shed for that kind of money. Maybe a door. To just open it. That's all you have. Okay. Well, I hate to torture you with it a little bit more, but that's how we're gonna go.
Wait a minute, I'm not hearing. This is what I'm hearing the trial on.
I don't know what that was. Oh, someone with court TV.
There, I did not mean going to school, attending school. I was flying back to school. When I was flying back to school and not attending school, Dad would not give me money. Once I attended school, Dad paid for everything.
And in the fall, you were not attending school.
No, I was not. I wasn't going to attend till spring. I took that semester off.
Did you call your mother in the spring of '89 upset because you didn't have money for food while you were at school?
Objection, Your Honor.
What were Roach can answer that?
Spring, when I went out for that week in October. That-
In the spring, October's in the fall, spring of 1989, was there a phone call to your mother about you running out of money and not having enough money for food?
I don't think I was in Arizona then.
Well, you indicated you came home for 2 days in April for the wedding. Where'd you come home from?
Oh, okay then. Yes, there was. Yes. Okay, the year before. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
In the spring of '89, did you call home to your mother complaining about not having enough money for food?
I didn't have enough money for a phone bill. And then I paid the money. I was using the money for the phone bill for the food, and then my phone got disconnected. So Mom paid the phone bill, and then I had money for food.
The you indicated on your directed testimony that that now you don't think your mom and dad were happy, different than you thought before. Remember testifying to that?
Objection, Your Honor. The question's vague.
Sustained.
Do you remember testifying on direct examination that now you've come to the belief that your mom and dad were not happy when they were living together?
Yes, I do. I just think that they fought a lot. I don't know if all in all they were unhappy or unhappy. In front of me, they just fought a lot.
Your mother, you did not know, your mother didn't tell you about your father's or her belief in your father's affair with Linda till after they separated, did she?
No, she did. She didn't, she would just bring up Linda's name a lot.
She didn't tell you that she thought there was an affair going on.
Not directly, but that was implied.
Well, didn't you, do you remember testifying that you thought your mother was crazy when she brought up the affair because you didn't believe there was one?
I don't think I said Mom was crazy. I didn't believe that there was one.
Okay. And
Hey, Robin. We were, I mentioned you earlier saying you might know the answer to how much money Betty was fined for all the bad words she was saying. I think she's doing better. I think the daughter is doing better today than she did, well, now in their time 2 days ago, but for us, the first time we saw her on the stand. She's not rolling her eyes, and she does seem to be answering his questions, but I just don't know where I don't know. I've already told you guys I don't know where he's going. But I didn't know if the book, you're reading the book, right, Robin? Or is that Holly? Why am I getting you all confused? Somebody's reading The 12th of Never, and I just wondered if that information was in there. I need to read that too.
you even talked to your father about that, didn't you?
Objection relevance, Your Honor.
Overruled, you can answer that.
I talked to my father about having an affair with Linda.
Yes. Before your mom and father separated.
No, I did not.
Could be Annabelle. I mean, she's had the second time through all this for her, and she's young. Yes. Tracy, I think the book is The 12th of Never, but I don't remember the author. Somebody, maybe it was Holly. I don't know. And I could have dreamed the whole thing up because last week in chat was very rough for me. Apparently, I couldn't speak English or read. But I do remember, because that is something that I think Betty said, something about the 12th of Never. No, it wasn't James Patterson. Like it was a yeah, reading is hard sometimes. I'm not sure. I'd have to I'll have to look it up and let you know.
Remember me asking if
Can we have a page cite, please?
yes, 339 through 340, 26 through line 1. You remember being asked a question about Linda's name being brought up, but it was never fact. Nothing about an affair was ever brought up. Remember being asked that?
My mom?
Yes.
I don't remember being asked that in particular, but
Remember testifying at the trial, don't you?
yes, Mr. Early, but I've done a lot of things between then and now, and I don't remember exactly everything that I said.
Okay. Well, at the time that you testified at the trial, you were trying to be as truthful as you could.
Your Honor, I object.
I'm trying to be as truthful now, Mr. Early. I'm
Sustained.
trying.
There's nothing inconsistent about what was said before and what is suggesting is being said now. I object to this attempted impeachment.
Well, I haven't seen the transcript, so I don't know he's entitled to ask the question.
Well, that's going to lose him the jury. He just made a girl cry. It's until the 12th of November. I'm sorry. Bella Stumbo, Stumbo, wrote it. It's got 4.2 on Goodreads and a 4.7 out of 5 on Amazon. And there's only one left in stock, so better order it now. Whew, it's 546 pages. It says it's an all in-depth account of Betty Broderick's unaliving of her ex-husband and his new wife, describes the crime and resulting trial, painting a disturbing portrait of divorce in America and its victims. So there you go. Bella Stumbo.
What would you like me to read?
You could read, start on page 339. Start on line 26. Go to line 7. To the next page.
You said she was a little bit crazy. I just was answering your question that yes, she talked about Linda working in Dad's office, and it was assumed that she didn't like Dad Linda working there. She wanted her fired because she thought she was having an affair. Mom didn't say that, but that's what she was saying.
Did you read the paragraph, the lines I asked you?
Yes.
You remember being asked a question, okay? And you, when I had a conversation with you, you indicated to me you thought that your mother was a little bit crazy because she talked about an affair with Linda that you knew that didn't exist before they split up, didn't you? And your answer was yes.
Right.
You were indicating that yes, you had that conversation with her. That was the question of whether you had that conversation, wasn't it?
Objection, Your Honor. She's answered the question.
Sustained.
Okay. You would read, page 340, line 8 through 11.
Okay.
And I asked you
Your
about
Honor, excuse me, I'm going to object to these questions on relevance grounds. I'd like to be heard at sidebar.
It's not necessary. Sustained.
Your Honor, how could, you don't even know what the question is. Can I try to at least?
Go ahead, ask the question.
Did you testify last time that your,
Your Honor, excuse me.
Let's hear the question first. Let's hear the question. What's the question, Mr. Irwin?
isn't it true that you testified last time that your father told you that he was faithful, there was no affair?
Is that what my dad told me? Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
And did you, isn't it true that you thought that your mother was just treating your father poorly for no reason? And that, at that time, for nothing at all?
Your Honor, it assumes other facts, not evidence.
Sustained.
At that time, during the time before your father and mother split up, didn't you feel that your father was doing nothing absolutely all and your mother was treating him poorly for no reason?
As far as I could see, Dad was taking care of us, doing the best he could. Mom was just ruining everything. So yes, that's what way I looked at it, yes.
Before they split up?
Before they split up, no, right when they split up.
And didn't you indicate that before they split up, your mother was treating your father poorly? Or that's not your belief?
Yes, she was treating him poorly.
And you believe there was nothing that your father did at all?
Not as far as I could see. No, he wasn't doing anything.
Now, had there been, there's no time that you believe that you've ever lost a key before? You've lost your keys?
No, I don't think I've ever lost my keys before.
And do you remember testifying to last trial that you believe you've lost your car keys before?
No, I don't remember.
Page 203, lines 16 through 21. You could read that to yourself.
Well, because I think I lost my car keys. I don't remember losing my car keys. I can't remember any car I ever had that I lost the keys to. It's possible I lost the car keys. I never lost any keychain with Dad's key on it before. I said that both times.
But you don't dispute your testimony that your memory then was you thought you'd lost car keys before.
I could, no, I don't think I lost my car keys before.
Okay, so do you know why you testified to that last time?
Objection, argument.
Sustained.
States the evidence.
That then it's your memory now that you've never lost your car keys before, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, I don't think I ever lost my car keys before.
And does it refresh your memory, your testimony that when you testified before that you thought that you had lost car keys?
No, still don't think I've ever lost my car keys before.
The time that Danny did the tape that we heard with Danny, how long into the conversation was it before the tape was turned on?
Objection, he's asked these questions before.
Sustained.
Well, you indicated that you don't remember how long it was.
Objection, he doesn't get to just keep repeating the same subject.
Sustained.
Can I refresh your memory then, Your Honor, on the question?
Well, I can
Impeach her
remember.
now?
No, I can remember her testimony. You want to try to impeach her? Go ahead.
Well, may we approach the bench so the court can tell me what the testimony is, so I know if I'm impeaching?
No, I'm sure you remember the testimony. She was at her mother's and came home, and Danny was upstairs and on the phone. At the time she came home, she doesn't know when the conversation started. Go ahead.
Well, do you know how long the conversation was going before the tape was turned on?
No, I don't.
Was it very-
I don't think very long.
10 minutes?
About 10 minutes, I think. I really don't know. I walked up and I was home when the tape got turned on, but I don't know exactly how long they were on before that.
Okay, and your mother would call, how often would your mother call over to your father's home?
All the time.
Okay, was that every week? I mean, every week was it pretty constant where she would call all the time?
Well, if she was out of town, maybe she wouldn't call as often or something like that. But it was pretty constant.
And, do you have a recollection of, would it be more than once a day?
Yes, occasionally, sometimes it wouldn't be at all in the day. I guess it depended what mom was doing.
Did, on Coral Reef, did your father have keys to the house
When?
when you lived there before you moved, before there was the crack in the slab?
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated that your mom used to lock your father out of the house.
With a deadbolt over the garage door.
Did every door have a deadbolt?
Yes, it did.
And the deadbolts couldn't be opened from the outside?
No, they cannot.
So you indicated one time your mother put a ski in the door. Is that correct?
Objection.
I don't think I indicated that.
And did your mother ever put a ski in the door?
Not that I remember. I've heard somebody say that, but I don't recall that.
When you were, the time that the clothes, when your mother set your father's clothes on fire, how long had you been home before that happened?
All afternoon.
And what time, and when you say all afternoon, remember what time it
Well, it was
happened?
that after school, so the time it happened probably around 5 or 6, somewhere around that time, I'd say.
And so you had been home for a couple hours before it happened?
Yeah,
And where was your mother when you got home from school?
she wasn't home. She was down at Dad's office.
And how long before she got home were the clothes set on fire?
Before she got home? After
Well-
she got,
After she got home? Did that happen right away?
I think she talked to Chris McKelton for a little while, but it was pretty much right away.
Just a matter of minutes.
Well, it took her a while to throw everything out and stuff, so the fire didn't start for a while, but she started doing it right after.
And during that period of time, did you leave the house?
I think we went over to Chris, no, I don't think so. I think we went over to Chris McKelson's sometime in that time period. But while she was throwing everything out, we were there.
When she lit the fire, were you there?
I was there when she put the gasoline on. When she lit the fire, I wasn't standing right there. I think I was in the house though. Or maybe I was out front.
And your mother made you get away when you tried to stop her?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you indicate she did?
She hit me with her hand like that.
To push you away?
Yeah.
And after the fire started, then you went where? Did you go anywhere, or did you
Yes.
stay home?
And I walked down, I went away from the house. Walked down the hill,
And did you go anywhere?
just down the hill and back.
So you didn't go over anyone's house?
Then I went to McKelson's house later.
When you say later, did
I
you
came home and then I think I went to McKelson's house for a little while. Vicky Curry was over. I think that by that point, then we went over to McKelson's house. And then when Dad came home, I think we were back home by the time Dad came home. So we were over to McKelson's house for a while, I think. And I think Vicky Curry was with Mom.
And you remember you were home when your father came home?
Yes, we were
And your brothers, where were they?
at the McKelson's house. Either the McKelsons or then Vicky Curry had taken them back to her house.
Were they there when your mother came home?
No. No, they weren't there. No, I don't know exactly where they were. They weren't there any of the time.
Okay, so you don't remember seeing the children over the McKelsons, the two
They-
boys?
They were over at the McKelsons. When I was over there later, they were over at the McKelsons at that point. By the time Dad got home, I don't know if they were still at the McKelsons or if they had then gone to the Currys. But I don't know why they were at the McKelsons when Mom first got home. Maybe we were over there playing or something. Or maybe she called Mrs. McKelson and told him to come get us or something.
You never saw your mother with a black eye?
No.
You sat through your mother's testimony, didn't you? Karen Ford?
Yeah.
Do you remember her being asked a question about, did she get a black eye one time when you were in the bath?
Objection, Your Honor, please.
Sustained.
Well, did you ever tell the district attorney that your mother got a black eye putting you in the bath at any time?
I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Was that ever asked of you? That question?
I don't think so. You mean when I was really little being put in the bath?
Is there any time when you were put?
If it was when I was really little, I might not remember it. I don't know why mom would put me in a bath when I'm older.
Yeah, but you don't remember anything about your mother getting a black eye from you.
No. No, I don't.
Now, your mother, when you moved out of the rental home, your mother moved into California.
Yes.
Did she move right in?
No. Well, she was at the rental house for a while with the other kids.
Well, but as soon as she moved out of the rental house, did she move into that home?
I'm not quite sure. I don't know about the dates of when she sold and bought the other house. And I think it was a matter, it might have been a matter of days. I don't think it was that she was out of the house for very long.
The, do you ever remember your mother staying at the Coral Reef home after you moved out of that home? After you moved out of the rental home?
No, I don't.
Now, after you moved into, with your father, there was a number of housekeepers, is that correct?
Yes.
At the beginning, it had trouble, they didn't work out, isn't that correct?
I remember there's one named Ginger that was only there for a couple weeks. She didn't work out. And then after that, I think most of them were there for a while.
So how many housekeepers do you remember being there that first year?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
The, do you remember testifying at another hearing that when your mother and father would have an argument, they would do it in another bedroom, go into another bedroom?
Yes,
Is that true?
occasionally. The arguments would start pretty much in front of us, and then occasionally they would finish it in another bedroom, or then they would just. The things like the ketchup bottle and the stereo, those were right in front of us, and those weren't in the bedroom. So sometimes they were in the bedroom, sometimes they weren't.
So you remember those two arguments, or arguments that stand out in your mind?
No, those are examples that were not. There's lots of arguments that stand out in my mind that weren't in the bedroom.
Can you give me some other examples?
Well, just fighting back and forth, and they're just yelling at each other. There's nothing else that was thrown that I can remember.
Can you give me an example of what they were yelling about?
for instance, on those dinner parties that we'd have on Sunday, they would fight about that all the time because Dad would do the yard work and then Mom would do the inside stuff. And then Mom would always yell at Dad that he was not helping her, and so they would always have arguments about that right in front of us. Those were not arguments in the bedroom. They were in the kitchen,
And do you remember what years those arguments took place?
all years.
During the period of time that you indicated that your mother had a lot of friends and gave a lot of parties, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
She always had a lot of money.
Yes, she did.
Was she also working
When are you speaking about?
when they were married? Was she working?
When they were married, when she had us? No, when she was younger, when we were younger, she said that she worked.
You don't remember her taking in children for a daycare center, watching them, getting paid for that, setting up a daycare center at the home?
I have no idea if she got paid for it. There were children that were Danny's age that she would have over that during the day.
Do you remember her working at night as a hostess at all?
When we were younger, not when we were older.
Okay.
This is before before I was 10. After I was 10, I don't think Mom worked anymore.
Well, do you remember your mother going to work? Or is that
Objection,
just-
Your Honor, she's answered the question.
Sustained.
Well, is this something that you were told, or is this something you remember?
I went and visited Mom at work when we were younger. I saw her at work. She worked at Jolly Rancher or something like that, in the Black Angus as a hostess.
And do you remember the time frame when she had children over Danny's age?
And I don't think that she worked. I don't remember her working. How old would that have been? Well, after I was 10. So she would work. She worked. I think after she had Danny, then she did the daycare. She didn't do hostess sitting anymore then. And then I think that was the last job that she had until they got separated.
And you're talking about the daycare?
Mm-hmm.
You indicated that your father would, there's a number of times that he would hire security guards, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and sometimes he would hire them in anticipation of things he was gonna do in court?
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Well, you indicated that you knew, you gave some reasons why he hired security guards, is that correct? No.
Objection, that misstates the other.
Overruled, you can answer that.
Did I give reasons? I'm not sure. I don't, he got security guards when if they were fighting and Mom threatened to do something, then they got security guards then. Like after court, if they had some argument, he wouldn't get a security guard before court. Anticipation, I don't think. I think that's what you were asking me. But after court, if he thought Mom was going to do something, then you'd get security guards. This is after you ran a car in the house. Then he was just scared. Thank you.
And sometimes when he would leave town, he'd hire somebody?
He'd hire babysitters.
Well, he'd hire security guards when he left town, is that correct?
I don't recall that. If we all left town, you mean? Or if he left town and left us at home, then it was just babysitter. If we all left town, I wouldn't know if he hired security guards or not.
You remember testifying at the last trial that one time when he went out of town, he hired security guards too?
No, I don't remember that.
Page 270. Read line 7 through 11 yourself. Do you recall testifying about hiring one when he was leaving town one time?
I don't recall testifying to it, but I did.
You indicated your mother had a number of gowns. Most of those gowns, to your knowledge, or at least most of them were bought, she had before the separation, did she not?
Yes,
And your mother spent a lot of money on the kids, did she not?
yes.
You talked about your mother coming over to your father's house and looking at things
Yes.
that were around,
Excuse me?
looking at things that your father had.
Yes.
Did you did she ever talk about gathering any information for her divorce trial?
No.
Did she ever talk about comparative lifestyles?
When she was walking around?
Yes.
No.
Did you know, were you going to court with your mother at all?
I went one time with her.
There was a number of times you knew she went to court.
Yes.
A lot of times, isn't that right?
Mhm.
You went one time?
I went one time, and then another time, my sister and the boys and I went to go talk to a judge about custody.
She also, when she was there, she took things that she thought were hers, did she not?
Yes.
You indicated that you had some conversations with your father about the boys, is that correct?
Yes.
And you related that was it that your mother used to tell the boys that your mother used to tell the boys about that your father was going to abandon them when he had his own babies or his
Yeah.
own children? Is that correct?
Yes.
So you have a specific memory of your mother telling that to the boys?
Yes, I do.
Have you ever told anybody that that you've never heard your mother say that, you've just heard the boys say that, and you assumed it was your mother?
I didn't hear her say it to them. She said it to me. And then Danny and Wright told me she said it to them. So she said it to all of us.
So you've never.
I wasn't right there when I wasn't right there when I heard Mom say it, but then I heard Danny and Rhett say it right after Mom. She said that to me and Lee too.
So it's not true that you heard your mother say to the boys?
She just said it to all of us.
Well, is it true or not true that she said it, that you heard her say it to the boys?
I can't remember a specific incident where I heard her say that, but she did say it.
So you have no memory at all of her ever saying that to the boys, is that right?
I don't recall her hearing her say that.
And she indicated that, or at least your indication is that there was some conversation about when your father had his own children, then the boys would be abandoned.
Mom said that to me. I don't know. I don't know what she said to the boys.
You also indicated that there were some conversations with your father about giving the boys back to your mother, is that correct?
That I had conversations with them? Yes.
And that it was at the, just before his death, that there was conversation that he was saying that he thought he was gonna give the boys back to your mother.
Yes.
And there was also conversations just before his death that he wanted to have children, isn't that correct?
Yes.
Your mother wasn't demanding of him that if he had children, that he had to get the boys back, was he?
She was demanding that she wanted the boys back, regardless if he had children or not.
So it was he that had the conversation, just the conversation about the same time, that he was thinking of having children, and it was at that time he was thinking of getting rid of the boys.
That was two different things.
Yeah, but about the same time.
Objection,
No.
Your Honor. I object to the characterization of getting rid of the boys.
Sustained. It's argumentative.
The, you indicated that, about the relationship of your father and Linda. Remember testifying about that?
Yes.
Isn't it true that your father said that he did not want to marry Linda, but he did want to have children?
Objection, Your Honor. It's irrelevant.
Sustained.
I'd like to make an offer of proof, Your Honor.
No, go ahead. Want something else?
Well, could I then make an offer so it's on the record?
Yes.
The, your mother's house, you've identified the pictures of what your mother's house looks like. Those were pictures that appeared to be taken recently in 1989, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you're indicating that her house was in poor condition when she bought it?
Yes.
Were there 3 families living there?
She told me that. She told me that there's a bunch of people that lived in the living room and.
Your Honor, I'm going to object on hearsay.
Sustained. Answer stricken.
Did you know whether there were 3 families that lived there?
No, I didn't see them.
Were you aware of burn spots in the living room?
I don't know if I saw them or if the carpet was taken out before, but I know that I heard of them.
So when you testified there was burn spots, you don't know if that's something you saw or heard?
Yeah.
Did your mother have furniture at her house when she moved in?
Objection, relevance.
Overruled. You can answer that.
All I know about furniture is that we didn't have any when we lived in Coral Reef, and Mom had all the furniture. And then at some point, there was furniture in the Coral Reef garage, and then now Mom has the furniture again. So I don't know how it got all around. I don't know when she had it and when we had it. I don't know.
Did you go over and visit your mother for the first 3 or 4 months that she lived at Cali de Asea?
Yes, but I don't really remember if there was furniture or not. I think she had a bed, but I don't know if when she first moved there, it was a long time ago. I don't know if she immediately started remodeling, so there wasn't furniture in the living room. Because then I didn't see the burn spots, I don't think, so I just don't know. I don't know where all the furniture was. We didn't have it. And Mom had it in the rental house, and then I don't know what happened to it. But we never got it, we never had it, I don't think.
And you never remember a time when your mother's home was empty, Cali de Asea?
I think when she first moved in, it was empty.
Do you remember it being empty for some period of time?
That I don't remember.
Do you remember any arguments over the furniture that was in the garage?
Which garage?
Well, your father had furniture with boxes stacked on it in the garage at Coral Reef, did he not?
I think you're talking about Cypress.
At Cypress, do you remember?
He had an old couch and a desk and a table in there. And then the old couch was gone. I don't know what happened to the old couch. I don't know if Mom wanted it or what happened to that.
Do you
And then
remember,
there were boxes on the table. So I remember that, if that's what you're talking about.
remember any arguments about the, your mother wanting that furniture that was in the garage and your father saying he was using it to store boxes on?
I remember about the table. I remember Mom wanted the table. I don't think Dad's response was, I'm using it to store boxes on though.
Okay. Your Honor, I would like mark an envelope, O, which contains 3 pictures.
So Mark,
Showing you 3 photographs, all marked O for identification. You recognize those photographs?
Yes,
And is that the garage at Cypress?
yes. I don't know that. Well, yes, this is it.
And is that a accurate representation of how the boxes were stacked at Cypress?
For a while, but then there was a whole wall that was a file cabinets and boxes like that. And I think that's when we first moved in there.
So there's a couple of tables.
Your Honor, excuse me, I'm going to object to the state of the garage at Cypress back in 1986 as being irrelevant.
sustained.
Your Honor, may I make an offer of how it is relevant?
Well, you got the pictures in, that's enough. She's identified the pictures, go ahead.
Well, it was more than just a table, wasn't it?
Maybe-
Objection vague. I don't understand the question.
You referring to the picture show more than a table?
Yes.
Answer that.
Yes, the pictures do, but that wasn't what the argument was about.
Oh, so there was an argument that you remember?
Mom wanted the table. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. And you remember any argument about the dresser?
No, I don't.
And what was the argument that you remembered?
Objection, Your Honor, to the relevance of an argument 3 years before these murders.
Sustained.
May I make an offer of proof now?
You've already got in that there was an argument about the table. And the dresser was already called.
Yeah, the judge is pretty much over this. He's just like, just ask a question. No, we're almost through it. Only 10 more minutes. I think the judge is frustrated, Petaltown. And I know you guys are frustrated with her, some of you. I can see how, one, she's young, and then he was trying to take her back to when she was even younger to ask her about things she probably didn't really care about or understand what she was looking at, like why the boxes were stacked in the garage a certain way or whatever. She probably didn't care. She was a kid. I mean, she's still a kid here for the most part, just because she no longer has teen after her age, or before, after, whatever. Depends on how you say it. no matter, he has yet to ask her. I thought he was going to finally get to a point of, your dad was driving your mom crazy, right? And he just, he kind of started walking down that path, and he's like, hey, let's go talk about boxes. And, and the closed captions. I'm sorry. And the dresser, well, you're unplugged paper. Those have been the most interesting things about today.
I'm sorry.
And the dresser.
Well,
You're unplugged.
I got a paper.
She was unplugged paper.
I need to go to the anteroom.
Go ahead. Folks want to stand up and stretch for a minute, go ahead.
Go ahead. Stand up and stretch. That is a very tall gentleman right there. He doesn't fit. I feel sorry for him. All right. I'm sorry they didn't cut all this part out.
Go ahead.
Referring to your,
All right. Robin's going to say something in her defense. Robin is not a fan. In her defense, her mom became an angry psycho. Her dad was definitely a cheater. And in the end, she lost both her parents. Yep. She is the quintessential angry teen and still seems to be stuck there. She has a lot to be angry about. And I agree. Plus I can't imagine going through what she did at her age. I think your mind just protects you. There probably are things that she really did not remember. Well, the keyword there, Puddletown, I called you Flash fans for some reason. I don't have any idea. Don't ask. Is mostly. Just kidding. I think you turned out just fine. I mean, we all go through bad things in life. Fortunately, we all don't, unalive people when we do.
testimony that in Arizona in the spring, you didn't need money to eat. I'd like to have you read yourself page 314, lines 15 through 19.
And I'm glad. I hope she's doing well.
Okay.
I hope all the kids are doing well.
At the last trial, when you were asked what the call about the money was, you indicated that you paid the bills. The reason you were calling is you needed money to eat, correct?
Basically, the whole year I was broke because I talked on the phone a lot and I had a really high phone bill. So the mom would pay the phone bill for me and then I would have money that dad gave me for the rest of the stuff. At one time, but see, I had money in another account called All Aboard for food. So, and then dad put money directly into that. So that doesn't make much sense, but maybe I was hungry.
Well, that was your answer, that you needed, the reason you called your mom and were upset is because you.
I don't think it was necessarily for food. I needed money.
It was your words, not mine, wasn't it, that you needed money to eat?
I think it
Would
is.
you like to review it again?
No, I think that's what I said.
But your testimony now is you don't remember any time you needed money to eat.
I didn't have any money. I needed money basically.
At the time that your mom and dad separated, you were 15 years old,
Mhm.
and you and your mom were not getting along, were you?
Mom and I get along fine a lot of the time, and then we fight a lot of other times. If I had known that if I fought with Mom that any of this was going to happen, I would have been nice to Mom every minute of the day. We had a normal teenage relationship. We fought about clothes, about makeup, about curfew, about boyfriends. Normal stuff. I wouldn't say that she hates me, and I don't think, and I know I don't hate her. I still have a normal relationship with my mom.
You indicated that your friends liked your mother, is that correct?
Yes, I
Objection,
did.
it's irrelevant.
Overrule, the answer stands.
They like that too.
And at that time, it was normal, your friends were having troubles with their mothers.
Yes.
You were at times telling your mother that you were mad at your father, weren't you?
For normal teenage reasons too. If he wouldn't let me go out when I wanted to go and things like that.
And at times you were telling your friends that you were mad at your father and he was an asshole, weren't you?
I don't think I called him that. I was get mad at him and talk to my friends about it. Just as I would get mad at Mom and talk to my friends about it.
Is that just not a word that you would use with your father, or?
I don't think I called him an asshole. I would get mad at him.
Nothing that he did that would make it so that you would call him that?
Objection, Your Honor. Please answer.
Stands.
I'd like to show you,
Your Honor, I object to this. I'd like to first say, but if it's going to be offered.
I don't know what it is. We
I
have
know,
no.
that's why we need to first sidebar, I guess.
All right, come on up.
you indicated that at the graduation,
I think he lost.
your mother was taking pictures of your father, Linda?
Yes.
Was that something that you knew or something that was told to you?
I think it was told to me. Dad and Linda just left early. I think it was told to me when they left.
Linda hated your mother and called her names, didn't she?
She didn't call her very many names to me. I know she didn't like Mom very much, but that wasn't until after Mom did a lot of things to her.
Okay, Your Honor, can I have the witness be admonished? She'll get her chance to explain. She just answered
Your Honor,
mine.
that's totally inappropriate. She's trying to answer the question. He's gonna,
Overruled. She's been given narrative answers all along. Just because she says something you don't like, Mr. Early, just go ahead.
Your Honor, it has nothing to do. But we approach bench, Your Honor?
No.
yes.
No, just go ahead. Ask another question.
Do you remember a testifying line that Linda would call your mom names when she got mad?
I know she called Mom. She thought Mom was crazy. I don't remember her calling her any negative names. I don't remember saying that.
Remember being asked last time if she called her names and you answering yes?
You're not gonna object to the relevance unless somehow this was related to the defendant, it's really irrelevant.
Sustained. Can't impeach on irrelevant matter.
I'll make an offer of proof as to its relevance, John.
It's how it's relevant to your client,
Yes.
what she knew.
What she knew and what she told my client.
Why don't you just ask her if she ever heard any names mentioned about your client in front of your client by Linda?
Well, did you ever tell your mother that Linda used to call her name?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever tell your mother that Linda told you that she thought she was crazy?
No.
Did Linda tell you that?
Objection, Your Honor, same objection.
Sustained. It's asked and answered.
Did you tell your mother about conversations where your father would tell you that your mother was fat and crazy?
No, I would never tell mom anything like that. And no, that's untrue.
Holy cow. That's it for today for that. But let's be honest. Especially teenage girls. I know I did. I fought worse with my mom than I ever did my dad. And I will say this. I never, whenever I thought my dad was doing wrong in my life as a teenager, I did not call him names. I don't think I never said my mom was a name. Like I might say she's acting like one. But teenagers, man, I'm no longer one. They're crazy. They're hormonal. They're conniving. They're sneaky. They are a lot of things. And if you think there was not a time that those kids were not playing the parents against each other, I'm going to say that's probably wrong. Why would you not? It's a perfect chance to do it. You do it when you're living together with both parents, let alone when there's already strife between them and you're like, hey, guess what? And remember, Linda was not that much older than Kim. I'm sure it was weird for her that her stepmom was her like not that much older than her. So I mean, it's just normal teenage stuff. We had this conversation a long time ago in chat because there were some moms that were saying like they knew what their kids were doing, their teenagers were doing all the time, and I was like, no, you don't. Because think about what you were doing when you were a teenager, and I guarantee your parents did not know what you were doing all the time. So I know my parents didn't know what I was doing all the time. I know their parents generally didn't know what they were doing all the time. They lived in a town of 600 people, so it really wasn't that hard to figure out what they were doing. They really couldn't get away with much, but I guarantee they did. And my kids, even though I told them, don't try it because I've been there, I've done it, I'll know, I didn't. And they tell me stuff that they're like, hey, haha, we did this. Now, I will say, I was like, some of my answers was, well, I never did that, so I wouldn't have known. But they're adults now. It's like, I don't care. And now my son has a daughter. So, can't wait. Can't wait. But some of these things that he was asking about, it's just, teenagers can be horrible. Sorry if you're a teenager. But we were all teenagers at one point, and I'm sure I know I was not always good. I'll admit it. I'm scared. Oh my gosh. I mean, I have a good relationship with my kids. I have a good relationship with my parents. I mean, my mom is not here anymore, but as you get older, you just get over stuff. You grow up. Carmen seems adjusted. She is finally, you know. Took her till she was hit 30, but she got there. Speaking of Carmen, Gabby, she called me while I'm like, hey, I'm streaming. Um, we're gonna have to just kind of play Wednesday by ear. She has strep throat really, really bad. She sounds horrible. So I don't know if she'll be able to stream Wednesday or not. So we'll do our best to hopefully she'll be feeling better by then. I didn't have it that long to talk to her. I'll call her back. Well, look, you say her name 3 times and she appears. It's just like Beetlejuice. Hey Carmen, I was just talking about you. Well, I won't be here Wednesday. So, see you, Ronnie. Thanks for hanging out. Oopsie. Sorry, Gabby. Don't melt in your heat wave down there. I've got to fix these lights. Yes, everybody shh. Don't tell her. Don't tell her. Don't tell her what I just said. Don't tell her that they pulled stuff over on me. They already know. They already know. Okay. I was talking about teenagers and their parents and how, especially moms and daughters, don't get along. And how I didn't get along with my mom all the time. You and I didn't get along all the time. But at the end of the day, everybody is good. And that I didn't get, even when I got mad at my mom or my dad, I did not call them names. I don't know if Kim called her dad an a-hole or not. So, and if she did, okay. Like, it's just like, who cares? Who cares? Yes, you get along with everyone. Well, then we're all normal. Whatever normal means, that's us. Normal. We're all just our own definition of it. Okay, so tomorrow we will do part 3. Hopefully, wrap up the cross examination, which is what we have been on, and get back to redirect if she has any. I don't know why she would. If you like him or you don't, if you believe her or you don't, I think when he made her cry, that probably hurt him in front of the jury, just because it's a man making a young girl cry. Doesn't ever go well. It's kind of like when we heard that the dad kicked the dog. It's like, all right, well, maybe you did deserve what you got. He didn't. I'm kidding. Ooh, sorry. This light. God knew what's coming. Yes, and he didn't give her a Kleenex. He just made her cry and sit there. Like, just give her something. The mannequins appear to have made up. Kinda. She still kind of has her back to him, so she's playing a little hard to get. Who knows what they'll look like tomorrow. But I will be back at 5:30 tomorrow is my plan. We'll do part 3 of Kim's testimony. And then on Thursday, when I'm back, we will move on to a housekeeper, another police officer, a friend of Betty and Dan's, a security officer, and another housekeeper. I don't remember if we'll get to all of that on Thursday, but I will try to do my best because I keep trying to finish a full day on these. And so far, we've been okay. They haven't gone over 3 hours. So those are the rough ones. But anyway, thank you all for hanging out with me. If you haven't already, please hit that like button on your way out because it helps me a ton. And I would love if you would subscribe and share as well. And I hope that you will come back and hang out with us all again while we continue on with this trial that is crazy. So, the male mannequin. Okay. Me too, Robin. It's good to see you. Tracy, it's good to see you too. So, have a great night. All right, guys. Thank you all again. Have a great night. I will see you guys all tomorrow. Have a great day tomorrow. Be safe if storms are heading in your path. I think we're in the path tomorrow, but whatever. And so 5:30 p.m. Eastern time is the time I plan to be back, and we'll get going on this again. So I'll see y'all later and enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks. Bye.